Hey y'all, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Worlds of Country podcast. I'm your host, Andrew. On today's episode, I'm joined by Chris Colston to talk all about his musical journey and his brand new album, Boy Like Me. Hope you guys enjoy this one. I know I really did. Talk to you guys on the other side. Hey Chris, how are you?
Doing pretty good, man.
What have you been up to lately?
Man, just a lot of hunting, a lot of playing shows. Released the new record. Pretty much the same old everything that I normally do when I'm on and off the road. Just playing shows, hunting, spending time with my family, my little girl. It's been pretty good.
So when did you sort of know that music was going to be the thing for you?
I think I knew pretty early on. I started playing drums when I was 7, so I think once I got the hang of that, I knew I was going to be involved in music. I didn't know what specifically I was going to do, but after that, I think when I started playing guitar and I learned how to sing, I think doing that at a young age at 17 or 18 or so, and people started coming out to watch me play and things like that. I think it started to really kick in motion that that's what I wanted to do for a living.
Once it sort of like clicked for you, what would you say was like that first big step you took towards making it more than just something that you thought about and make it into something that you'd actually do?
I think that first step was when we put together a band and started actually like touring and playing legit shows for a reason, and started playing our own music. I think that was big. We played covers for a long time. And I think when we started getting the gigs where we could, play our own music, I think that was huge. I think that was a big step in realizing, okay, if we're going to do it for real, like we're not just going to be a cover band anymore. We're going to try to, sell our music to the fans. So
So what was the process like of really like finding your own voice as an artist as opposed to playing covers and stuff like that?
I think it just took a while. Like I think I needed to play the covers for a long time because I needed to find my voice in general. Uh, and around where I live, there's just a lot of restaurants, bars, not necessarily like music venues. So people want to hear the covers. They want to
Classics.
hear the classics, the stuff they know. So I think it was later on, I think 2018 is when we signed with the booking agency, and that's when it started getting kind of real. That's when we started playing with artists that were out there selling their own music, and playing their own songs. And that was like gave us a chance, to play our own music in front of their fans. So I think that was a huge step for us.
Well, that first time you really got to play your own music, what was that experience like for you?
It was nice. I mean, I always kind of sprinkled one of my own in my cover sets, just for fun, just to see how, everybody would react to it. But I think the first set we got to do full of our songs, it was special, man, because we got to see, you know, how the people were going to react. And we still kept, maybe a cover in the set just to so people, would, because we knew people didn't know our songs yet. So but playing a set full of my own songs, it was pretty special. It made me realize, okay, this is what I need to do, and these are the areas I need to work on to make the songs better and to grow our fan base.
To kind of like feed off like the reaction of the crowd and see also what you what you got to tweak a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're
Yeah.
still doing that today too. I mean, with songs that we're even songs that we're writing now, we're trying to figure out, okay, which one works best? Where should we put it in the set? It's constant growing.
Uh, So for the people out there that haven't heard your music before, how would you describe sort of your style?
Um, it's kind of hard to put into a corner, really, but I've got a country sound as far as my voice goes. I'm from Texas. I'm from East Texas too, so the twang is in there naturally. I can't really get rid of that, but um, got a country sound. But my shows are pretty. The live show is very guitar driven. Um, I grew up kind of on classic rock and all the country guys, that had the guitar heavy stuff like Jason Aldean, Brantley Gilbert, stuff like that. So it's a pretty rockin' show. It's very high energy until it gets down to the point where we have, the soft and the ballads, and
Yeah.
so I think it's a mixture of everything.
I feel like a lot of the stuff coming out of Texas these days sort of has that rocking energy to it, and it's kind of cool to see
Yeah,
that different side.
yeah, it's definitely in the past several years that it's definitely leaning towards more rock and less, traditional country. Um, it's a pretty neat scene to be a part of for sure. It's evolving right now.
So who would you say are sort of the biggest influences of the style that you have now?
I would say just like those guys I mentioned, Jason Aldean, Brantley Gilbert. But I listened to everybody. I listened to George Strait. I listened to Blake Shelton. I was always a fan of all the guys that were on the radio. Honestly, I love listening to the radio, and I still listen to to most of those artists pretty much every day. And I grew up on some classic rock too. My stepdad used to listen to classic rock, and then all the way to Hank Jr. And I even I listen to everything from Hank Jr. to Nelly. I always listen to Nelly or Ludacris or something like that. So um, I kind of mixed everything in, but I really fell in love with country up, and that's what I decided. That's what I wanted to play.
So you just released your new album, Boy Like Me, a few weeks ago. So could you sort of tell us how that project all came together and what about these 9 songs spoke to you?
Yeah, it was just time for me to put out a new record, and I really wanted to put together a project that was me, that really described kind of like who I am as a person, because people see that I hunt all the time and I have a family, but they may not know exactly like who I am as an artist yet. So I wanted to really explain that to people through these songs, and it was a long process, man. It took I think a year and a half to get all these songs down and written. And I had just, started writing in Nashville and meeting people and figuring out who I jived with so that we could write good songs together. And I found my little group and just kind of put together a group of 9 songs that, that were 100% me, that people could, understand. And a lot of songs about, there's a lot of songs. There's a party song on there. There's songs about breakup. There's songs about seeing somebody you don't want to see at the bar, and there's songs about what I think heaven is going to look like one day, and I hope it looks like where I'm from. So it's just a mixture of everything, and I'm glad it's finally out. It's a long process, but it's doing well, and we're already working towards the next one. So got to stay ahead of the game.
There's no resting.
That's right.
So were these songs written specifically for this project, or were these like songs that you sort of went back to and realized that they all sort of fit together later on?
I think a lot of them were a part of the process. I think that I had some, I think it was one of those things really when I was writing the song. I wrote one in Nashville, when I'd write one, I'd go, oh, yeah, this has got to go on the record. Like, it's just too good not to cut, and I think it just kind of came together as they were all songs, that were going to fit the mold for the Boy Like Me, album, that just made sense to go on there. So it was kind of scattered, kind of planned, just a little off the wall at some points, but I
I
think
need
it
a
all
little
came
bit of
together
that.
pretty well. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So I kind of want to go track by track with you and sort of get the story behind each one, if that's cool with
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start at the top with Dirt in Dallas.
Yeah. So I co-wrote, there are 4 songs on the album, and then the rest of the songs, they were pitched to me that were written by other artists, that were so similar to me that I was just like, man, I have to cut this. So Dirt in Dallas is one of those. That was a Jordan Walker write. I write a lot. If you look on all my records, I write a lot with Jordan Walker, or I cut a lot of his songs. He's also a Texas guy, and we get along so well, and we write great together. And I just love his style and his songs. So Dirt in Dallas is one he sent me when I landed in Dallas one time. Ironically enough, he sent me a song. He's like, dude,
Perfect
you got to
timing.
listen to this. Yeah, I listened to it and I was like, I have to cut that. He said, it's yours. So I just fell in love with it, and immediately, just because it's kind of that nod to my Texas fan base, and it's got that similar sound, what I sound like live, and it just fit perfect. And that's the first track on the record.
So then after that it's Living Like This.
Yeah, Living Like This is a Jameson Rogers tune. I cut some Jameson songs uh, recently too. It's just a party song, man. People, we knew immediately when we released that people would love that song live. And it's a song where they can sing back to us, no problem. You know, when it goes to the "we gonna drink, we gonna yell" part, they love that. So I knew that we had to put that out because we really needed a party crowd song. We don't have a whole lot of those songs, so it goes over really well live. It's easy to teach the crowd how to sing back to you, and we love playing it live.
So when you're cutting outside songs, you is there anything specific you're looking for, or is it just like a vibe thing for you?
I think it's a vibe, and I think I look for, is this me? Does this sound like me? 100%. If it doesn't, then we're not going to cut it. If it does sound like something that I can sell, for sure, because fans can see right through the stuff that's not authentic. So I try to, when I pick songs that I'm not writing, I got to make sure that it's, you know, that I can play that off, and it can come off, like it's like I wrote it, basically.
Yeah, it's hard enough to sell who you are. It's even harder to sell something you're not. Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
So then we move into Goodbye Gasoline, which is more of a sadder song on there.
Yeah, Goodbye Gasoline, real serious. That's a Randy Montana one. That's another one that I wasn't a writer on, but Randy, I've cut several of his songs, and he's one of my favorite songwriters in Nashville. I've cut some songs on my last record that were his, and it was just a jammer. Like, had that live show aspect, and it just kind of had that she's gone and I'm not putting up with this, kind of thing, that attitude. And I liked that a lot. And I knew that we could pull it off live. And that one's done really well for us too. We did a music video for it, went over great. And so that's Goodbye Gasoline. That's one of my favorites.
So the live aspect also seems like it's very important to you to have in mind when you're choosing what to cut. And how do you sort of like play out how you think it would sound live before deciding to cut it?
I think I could just hear it immediately, especially if it's a good demo. I think it's easy to hear, like, if someone has a really good demo of it and it's rocking and they spent some time of it, I can pretty much say, I've got some great players in my band. They're very talented. They're very precise on what parts they play, and they spend a lot of time on it. And I have all the confidence in the world in my band. So when I hear something like that, I'm like, oh, these guys would crush that. How fun would this be live? And so I just base it off of that pretty much, and if it's something that doesn't kind of fit our sound, like what we would want to sound like live, then, maybe we tweak it a little bit, or maybe we change it here and there to make it more us. But it's a pretty fun process trying to figure it out, for sure.
So then after that, it's Another Bar.
Yeah. Another Bar. Love that song. That's a Michael Tyler song. Man, it was different. To be honest, I was kind of hesitant about this one because it does have more of a pop feel, like the country kind of pop sound. And but I realized that this story, of the song, a lot of people can relate to. I mean, how many times do people go at the bar and are like, "Oh my God, my ex was there. Like, I didn't want to see them tonight. It's kind of ruined my night." I've seen it firsthand. Way too many times. I've seen it happen to people. So I'm like, man, this is super, super relatable. So I went ahead and I said, man, we have to cut this. We have to do it. So that one turned out really, really well too. And it's got that kind of pop sound, but it goes over live well. People really jam it. It's got a catchy chorus.
So how do you sort of walk that line between personal and relatable?
That's actually a really, really good question. I have to think about that. Yeah. I mean, I just try to make sure, like, if it's personal to me, is when I hear a song and it just hits me. It's just like, oh my God, I've been there. I've been through that situation. Like, it may not be relatable to everybody, but it's personal to me. And I feel like if something hits you like that, then there's some truth and there's some honesty in that. And people love that. People love to hear, especially nowadays, they like to hear about real stuff, not some made up, thing that you can tell is just, below the surface. So, and then, I don't know. That's a really good question. I thought, what you said, personal, and what was the other one? Relatable. Yeah, that's right. Relatable to me. If it's going to be relatable, if it's across the board relatable, I want to make sure the song's really, really good, because I want to be able to sell it and make sure I'm not just like, and make sure it's not just a subject that's that's been done 100 times before that's relatable. I like it to be usually something different. Something, if it's a breakup, then, well, what about that breakup song makes this relatable? It's just like all the other ones, or does it have this aspect that makes it cooler? I think there's a lot of strategy involved for sure.
It sort of has to have something a little fresh to it.
Right.
Yeah. So then the next song is Different Towns Together.
Yeah. Another Jordan Walker one, man. He's one of my favorites. And we got done writing a song actually one day, and he was in his truck and he's like, dude, listen to this. We just got this the other day. And I heard it. And I was like, dude, this is one of those that was personal. It was like, this is 100% me. There's a line in there. It says your grandparents have been living in that same house forever. And that's literally me to a T. My grandparents have lived in the same house since 1972, and they've had the same farm forever. And all the lines about cops running you off. And that's what we did. I grew up in a very, very small place. I'm like, this is me. Like, I know there's other people out there that have lived in a small town like I have. So that one hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. It's hard though, but with outside cuts, a lot of people aren't always able to find their story in those. And you somehow were able to piece together your story through other people's stories. And that's kind of cool to see.
Right.
Yeah. And then after that, it's the title track is next.
Yeah, Boy Like Me. So here we got to a song that I actually wrote. So this was me, Jordan Walker, and Kenton Bryant. We wrote the song together, and I knew that I knew for my record, I had a lot of upbeat, up tempo jamming stuff, but I also knew maybe we need to put something slower and sentimental on it, or something with a really deep subject. And anyway, my wife and I found out we were having our little girl, and I was like, man, I want to write a song for my little girl on here. I think that would be super cool. I mean, I think she needs a song. She deserves a song. So I went up to Nashville. I told Jordan, I told Kenton I want to write a song about my little girl, and they both have little girls, so super easy. And Kenton said, well, what if it's like, what if the title's like Boy Like Me? And then Jordan goes, oh yeah, it's like God will give a girl like you to a boy like me. And I was like, yeah, that's it. Like it literally came together. Yeah, it literally came together that fast. I think we wrote the song in an hour and a half, and to this day, it's one of my favorite songs, 100% that I've written. And that one's for my little girl, and that one's doing really, really well for us.
Would you say that that's the song on the project that means the most to you?
100%. I think so too, because I've never written anything that sentimental or that serious, or to be honest with you, that personal. I mean, that is my life. And the video, you can see it's my wife, my little girl. That's the inside of our house, that you're looking at. I mean, it's very, I brought people into my own home, very personal, and definitely my favorite. And I knew it would have a great reaction because, like we said, it's honest, it's true. There's no blurred lines. That's who I am. That's a good image of seeing who I am and what my life is like. So I think people really related to that in aspect and thought, man, this is real. We love it.
So then after that, it's I Hope Heaven's Like Home.
Yeah. I wrote Heaven's Like Home with a buddy of mine named Jeb Gibson. It was our first write together, actually. He was from a small town in Georgia, and I'm from a small town in Texas. And he's like, dude, I was just thinking, like, I hope one day when I get to heaven that it kind of looks like where I'm from, like all the simplicity of it, and the country look to it. And I was like, that's kind of cool. That'd be kind of a cool country song. Like, what if it's, I think originally the title was what I wanted to write was I Hope Heaven's Country. And he was like, that's cool. And he's like, well, what if it's like I Hope Heaven's Like Home? And that just sounded better. And so, yeah, we wrote it really, really quick. Our first write together. And I told him I was going to put it on the record from day one. He's like, yeah, whatever. Sure enough, I did. I was like, it's great. It's fun to play live too at jams.
So then after that, it's When I Go, I'm Gone.
When I Go, I'm Gone was the song that I wrote with actually my producer who produced the album and a guy named Jimmy Bell. It was our first write together. And I don't know where that one came from. Honestly, I think I was pissed off or mad or something that day. And I just wanted to write something with some attitude. And that's what that was. It was like, man, what if we just wrote a song about, a guy that's just tired of it, just tired of going through the stuff. And it's like, you got one chance, to make this right or I'm gone because I'm sick of it. There's a lot of people out there that go through stuff like that. So I remember listening to it when I got in the truck, finally, when they sent the demo and I looked down, I was driving like 95 and I was like, oh my God, the song's making me, go down the interstate, ridiculous amounts of speed. Like, hope it makes other people feel that way too.
You could tell from the title alone that it's a bit of a pissed off song.
Yeah. I don't know. I had an attitude that day or something. I don't know. It worked out though.
And then the project closes out with Hate Me in My Hometown.
Yeah, Hate Me in My Hometown. That was with Jeb as well, Jeb Gibson, and another Texas guy, Troy Cartwright. He's a writer up in Nashville now and an artist. And Troy actually came in and he said, I got this title. It says Hate Me in My Hometown. I said, I'm in. I love it already. Like anything small town vibe, anything like that, I'm always a fan of. So we wrote that really, really quick. He was like, I went through a similar situation way, way back in the day. This is a long time ago. Doesn't even matter now, but it kind of reminded me of, the situation I went through and, the line, why'd you have to make him hate me in my hometown? Like, come on, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't worth all that. It's like, this is relatable. And I know there's other people across the US that have dated somebody from somewhere small and it's tough to escape that because everybody knows everybody. You're going to run into them or their parents or, at one point in your life, you're going to run into them being in that small town. So that was another one that we wrote. So it was a good one. And that concludes the album, man. I hope people love it.
So if you had to pick one or two personal favorites on there, which two are you going with?
Personal favorites, I would definitely say, Hate Me in My Hometown was one that actually, it did really, really, really well as a single. But I would say my two favorites, Boy Like Me, obviously, and I would say Dirt in Dallas. I've loved Dirt in Dallas from the first time I heard it. But I love all of them too. I mean, I did the same thing I did with Dirt in Dallas when I heard different towns together. The track went so hard. I loved it. And it was upbeat and tempo. So, but I don't know. If you're giving me two, I'd say Dirt in Dallas and Boy Like Me for sure.
So what's next for you?
Man, just continuing to write songs, get better as a songwriter. This next project, I think I'm going to try to do an EP. And the goal would be to be a writer on all of the songs on there, whether it's 4, whether it's 5, but continue to become a better writer. I'm finding my niche group again of people that I love writing songs with. I'm continuing to write the songs with the same guys on the last album. And we're starting to get some better material. I'm starting to get some better songs. I'm kind of diving in and seeing like what works for me, what niche. And so continue to write songs, put out small projects, keep touring, keep getting out there and beating the pavement and getting in front of people. And like we talked about earlier, keep selling Chris Colston's. Looks like a lot of people are starting to buy into it a little bit. So that's good.
So I wanna do a little bit of like a rapid fire situation before I let you go. If that's cool with you. So let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do this thing.
Let's do it.
Dream venue.
Let's say Red Rocks.
Oh, that's a good one. Dream collaborator.
Dream collaborator. Oh man, that's a good one. Let's say that's tough. I want to collab with so many.
I'll give you 3 if you want 3. Oh, that's a
Okay,
class.
there you go. Let's do Travis Tritt, Charlie Starr from Blackberry Smoke, and oh my gosh, let's just do The King, George Strait.
Can't go wrong with that one.
Right?
No. If you could only listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh man, I could listen to one song for the rest of my life. I would say "Go Rest High" by Vince Gill.
Ooh, keeping it sad. I like that.
That's right, tough one.
Yep. I think that would get too much to handle over time, but
Yeah, right.
start off good and then you get sick. I think you get sick of anything though for that long.
That's right.
Yep. So thank you so much for taking the time for this.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I had fun. Just enjoyed it.
So did I.
This is perfect timing because I'm about to get my coffee for the day and get started. So I'm glad
Perfect.
glad you caught me then.
Of course. Have a great day. We'll do it again sometime.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Of course. Hey y'all, thank you guys so much again for tuning in. If you liked what you heard from Chris, be sure to go check out his music wherever you listen to music and go hit that follow button on social media. If you liked what you heard from the podcast, be sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening and go check us out on social media at Worlds of Country on all platforms. Talk to you guys next week.